You're watching CarTell.tv and I'm Jenny.
New groundbreaking tech, amazing efficiency and performance, great looks, and the famed Mazda driving dynamics in the top trim.
On paper, it looks really tasty. That's right, today I'll check out the latest Mazda 3 X20 Astina with the all-new Skyactiv-X engine.
It's meant to be an amazing offer in its segment of the market and even beyond it. However, at $41,000 for all the gear in the top trim, it's not as easy a purchase as it may sound from the list of benefits.
So let's take a closer look at the latest Mazda 3 with that Skyactiv-X tech and see if it offers enough to justify that price tag.
On the design front, the Mazda 3 is still one of the best-looking models on the market.
It's an evolution of the design language which made the previous generation really stunning, and this one is even better.
The grille and headlights combo is instantly recognizable even from other Mazda models, and it is one of the simplest yet most successful solutions on the market, even though the Mazda 3 is obviously a hatch. In fact, they call the two body styles sedan and hatch. The falling roofline and the massive C-pillar give it a coupe-ish look.
Which reminds me of some of the coupe-ish styles that we've seen on the more expensive European brands like BMW and Mercedes, and it just looks so nice.
There are several engine options for the latest Mazda 3, but we've covered all but this one previously.
Just search our channel for the previous Mazda 3 videos and you'll find some more in-depth info.
Now let's focus on the engine that shook the car world about a year ago with its new technology, Skyactiv-X.
Going in-depth with the tech in this review might take a bit long, so in short, it's supposed to combine the best benefits of petrol and diesel engines in one solution.
It combusts using compression like a diesel would, but the start of compression is controlled by a spark, like a petrol engine, which it actually is. Basically, just before the spark is released, an additional amount of fuel is injected right below the spark plug. So the spark starts the combustion, but due to the increased compression, the rest of the air and fuel mixture ignites spontaneously, much like a diesel would.
It brings more torque and better use of the fuel.
This means that combustion is faster, more forceful, and more complete, which should, in theory, improve performance and at the same time reduce consumption and emissions.
It's no wonder the tech became so popular when it came out.
The engine in this car is a 2-litre 4-pod with 132 kilowatts and 224 Newton meters that is available from 3,000 revs. The combined fuel consumption is officially at 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres.
But we'll see about that.
The system is also a mild hybrid with an integrated starter generator that stores the energy from braking and stores it in a battery.
That energy is used to power various electrical systems and equipment, start the engine and pull away.
The engine is paired with a 6-speed automatic.
So, how does the futuristic tech feel behind the wheel?
Well, first I should tell you that the benefits minimize in some conditions, like when the engine is really cold and when you put the pedal to the metal, of course.
However, for the most part and most of the time, it does what it promises, up to a certain level. Am I being ambiguous enough?
It will cruise effortlessly from about 1500 revs. Of course, depending on the gear you're in, an acceleration from about 2,200 revs feels really nice. While from about 3,000 revs, it gets even a bit sporty. Ooh, sporty.
Mind you, this is a petrol engine with no turbo, so having all the torque available from 3,000 revs is actually really nice.
It does lack some of the punch of modern turbocharged engines in the moments the turbo kicks in, but it also has a much smoother power delivery that many turbo engines of this size can't really boast.
In any case, the powertrain is smooth, well-balanced and efficient, but not quite as efficient as they promised.
You get sufficient power, a nice throttle response, and a power build-up that you can anticipate with remarkable precision and really enjoy.
Handling is also really good. We've already tested all the changes in the chassis stiffness, the G-Vectoring Plus system, and the suspension, and we really love them.
Speaking of which, suspension is maybe a bit firmer, but it's not harsh and it really helps improve handling.
The always engaging Mazda became even more so without losing any of its previous comfort.
Steering is wonderfully precise and responsive, and the feedback is a bit reminiscent of the old days when you felt directly in contact with the road.
Now this is not at that level, but I have to say that there are a few cars in this class that give better steering feedback, and the ones that do are sporty hot hatches.
Still, I have to say that the X20 is lacking in terms of sheer power. Don't get me wrong, it has more than you will ever practically need, and it is delivered in a lovely way, but this is the top model right now. Top trim, cool engine, all the bells and whistles, and then 132 kilowatts and 224 newton meters.
I do realise they were more tuned to efficiency, but when I'm buying the top model of a car, I really do expect a bit more in performance. And the way this car presents itself, it does scream performance.
Imagine you like the Mazda 3, as you should, but you want to give your neighbour with an i30 yen a run for his money. He spent just 4k more, and you're pretty much eating his dust. Sure, you have the G25, but even that isn't really a match. Moreover, the G25, while having a bit more power and torque, requires you to rev it more, so it does not really feel as effortless as the X20.
In this performance respect only, I'm really looking forward to the turbo Mazda 3 that's coming out shortly.
With this gripe that only car enthusiasts will take into consideration, I end my list of complaints regarding driving the Mazda 3 X20.
It's a really nice car to drive, as long as you don't expect top performance from it.
The interior is great. Materials are awesome. It's packed with leather, the fit and finish is top-notch, and the design is a wonderful mixture of minimalistic solutions and a cozy yet sporty layout.
The seats are really comfortable and supportive, which is great if you have one of those more engaging moments.
The steering wheel for me has some of that old sports car feel, with a small round centre and thin spokes. I quite like that. The 8.8-inch screen looks really nice and its position is great. It's high up and it's closer to the windscreen, which means it's in the line of sight even when you're not looking at it. However, being a thin, wide screen, it does not obstruct the view.
What all this means is that it's quite far from the driver. That doesn't matter because you actually don't need to touch it. All the operation is done from the central console.
Expectedly, it's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Just like before, the interior feels centered around the driver, and it really makes you feel special. So special!
This trim actually gets pretty close to some luxury cars, and which kind of justifies the price. You don't really get too many cars in this class with this luxury.
There are 2 cup holders up front, 2 more in the rear armrest, a phone tray in front of the cup holders, a deep and large central console bin, and bottle holders in the doors.
Yes, you can fit adults in the back, but there are definitely more comfortable options on the market.
Rear visibility is also compromised by the huge C-pillar, but for once, I would give form a pass over function. Usually I go the other way, but Mazda 3 is just so damn good looking.
So back here, the seats are quite comfortable themselves. You've got cup holders, armrest with cup holders, air vents, which is nice. Headroom is very minimal. Legroom is okay for someone of my height, but taller people, probably not so much.
The boot gives 295 litres of space. It's not the worst out there, but it's also not the best.
Not even close. However, the one redeeming feature is that the small space is due to the angled tailgate.
So the litres are lost in the upper section, while the boot actually has a nice depth and width. Also, the load lip is pronounced, so loading heavy objects may be a bit more difficult. Nothing serious though.
The Mazda 3 is very safe, and most of the safety features that can be found in this top trim Astina can be found in lower trims.
Just some of the features found here are electric parking brake with auto hold, hill start assist, G-vectoring control plus, 360-degree camera, rear view camera, advanced keyless entry and push button start, ABS, blind spot monitoring, cruising and traffic support, driver attention alert, dynamic stability control, forward obstruction warning, front and rear cross traffic alert, lane keep assist, front and rear parking sensors, traction control, smart brake control, traffic sign recognition, and more.
So what is the verdict? Well, this was more difficult than I thought it would be. So it comes down to what you expect.
The 3 Astina is an awesome car. It looks just great and it has great interior quality and feel. It handles better than most competitors, although it's a bit on the firm side. It gives a nice push and has very smooth delivery that we have begun to forget with everything turbo nowadays. And the tech is improved significantly.
In these respects, the Mazda 3 Astina really does leave most of the competitors behind. It really is a great car and easy to recommend.
On the other hand, the Skyactiv-X engines were supposed to change the industry and set new benchmarks.
Don't get me wrong, it's a great engine with torque available from amazingly low revs for a naturally aspirated 4-pot engine, and it's very fuel efficient for what it is.
In fact, despite the lower numbers than in the G25, in the rev sections used every day in a car like this,
I actually think it gives more punch and better fuel economy. in the real world, which is great. Just not as great as we hoped.
We have to use 95 octane fuel in it. Despite the previous reports and the low down push, while much better than any naturally aspirated 4-pot petrol, it is still some space away from that of a modern diesel. We were told we get the best of both diesel and petrol worlds with the Skyactiv-X engines.
And although these worlds have been brought a lot closer, they're not being joined properly yet. And our high expectations were not completely met by that admittedly amazing powertrain tech. In all other aspects though, the Mazda 3 is still one of the best in its class. Thanks for watching CarTell TV. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel and follow us on social media. And leave any comments below, we always love to read them. We'll see you in the next review. Peace.